Welcome back, everyone. As I've put some more kilometers on the NOSFET Aero here, and as it gets a lot closer to arriving at all of your doorsteps, I thought I'd do a bit more of a comprehensive review and guide to everything this thing has to offer. Let's go!
Oh, hey!
To start this off, let's go over all the neat features this wheel brings to the table. First and foremost, the Aero's trolley handle is probably one of the most striking yet invisible designs of a trolley handle I've ever seen. So invisible, in fact, that many people were questioning whether this thing would even have a trolley handle. But rest assured, it does. It clips into the back here with this easily operable latch that allows for single-handed use. After a certain point of extension, it reaches a little bit of friction. It doesn't actually latch into the top, but it doesn't need to, because the friction allows you to maneuver the wheel around quite easily. And when it clips back down, the handle doubles as your front handle, your rear handle, and even a middle grab handle. Which brings us to the second feature, the wheel's kill switch button. The left of these four top buttons, which I'll go into more detail later, is the spin kill button, which is conveniently positioned so that your pointer finger can press it while you're holding the center handle, and off you go. The next cool feature on this wheel is its automatic headlight that turns on when it's dark. Now, I haven't seen this feature on a wheel since like the S18 days, could be wrong, but it's nice to see it return, and you can turn it off in the app if you don't like your light turning on at inopportune moments. But I personally like the feature a lot. It's pretty convenient. Next on the list are the rear light settings. With a short tap of the power button, you can cycle through different taillight modes. You got a mode that turns blue when you're accelerating and braking, which I actually personally don't recommend because the police will not like you. You got a bright blinking red mode that I do like because it increases your visibility, a breathing RGB mode for all you epic gamers out there, and stealth mode for stealth. Now, the front light has three different standstill brightness settings. Now, I say standstill because when you're riding at any mode, the light will brighten up to full brightness. But it's nice to have it dimmer if you're like at an idle in a crowd and you don't want to blind everyone. So that's just tapping the second button from the right here, cycles through all those modes, and off. And as a bonus, long pressing the headlight button toggles on and off your daylight running lights for extra stealth. And lastly, firmware-wise, this wheel does feature a smart BMS allowing for individual cell monitoring and that Hall sensorless emergency safety feature that allows the wheel to keep operating in case of a Hall sensor failure. That's a feature that showed up in the Sherman L, later brought to the Lynx, and the Patton-S, and the Apex. Yeah, safety is good. All right, let's go over some of the wheel settings, shall we? Now, while it's really convenient that all of the settings can be manipulated on the wheel itself, not needing an app, the menu navigation can be a little bit cryptic. Now, thankfully, the Aero does come with a little instruction sticker here when you get it out of the box, and the instructions to the buttons are on the manual itself, but I thought I'd do a little guide to it anyway. Now, to make this a little bit easier, I like to think of the menu as having layers. There's three layers: your basic layer, which has all your basic info, like your trip distance, your total distance, temperature, voltage, amps, watts. Then there's your setting selection layer, and then your setting adjustment layer. And all these layers can be shifted between with the leftmost button. Long pressing it and letting go of the beep brings you down a layer, and short tapping it brings you up a layer. So if you wanted to go to a setting, you long press it once, and then use these up and down arrows to select which setting you want to go to. And when you want to adjust, you go down to the adjustment layer with the left button again, and now you can adjust the setting with your up and down arrows. Going through the settings themselves, there's your pedal hardness adjustment, your pedal angle adjustment, your speed tilt back, PWM based tilt back, and your speed alarm. Now, you'll probably notice that I have all of my speed alarms turned off. I don't like using speed-based alarms because your top possible speed changes as your battery drains. So if you had a speed alarm set high and then you get to a low battery that it's impossible to reach that speed, then your alarm wouldn't really kick in. I always find it a lot better to rely on PWM-based alarms. So that's why I have my PWM tilt back set to 80%, and there's always going to be beeps that go off at 80% PWM. Continuing down the line of settings, you got screen brightness, calibration, transport mode, don't really need to worry about that. Your units, I don't actually know what this setting does yet. I'll put it in text, some voltage. I don't touch this at all. You don't really need to worry about this. You got your tilt cutoff angle. You don't want to go too high with this because if it's set to too high of a value, when you tip the wheel over, it won't cut off and start Beyblading. So I like to keep mine on 45 degrees for casual street riding. But if I'm going on a trail that has a lot of big berms, I bump that up to 55 or 60. Next, you get your button volume. Note I have mine all the way down to 9%. This beeper is pretty loud, so I don't like to annoy everyone adjusting my menu. You got your maximum charge voltage. Say if you lived at the top of a hill or something and didn't want to charge your wheel up to full, you would set that a little bit lower. Next is your acceleration assist. The toggle for your over torque alarm. I'd say always keep that on. I don't really feel like there's a reason to turn that off. Your tilt compensation. And lastly, a new feature on this wheel is the toggle for the automatic headlight system. Then the last three menu items are your advanced menu, your battery left, and your battery right monitoring. You don't really need to deal with those unless you're diagnosing an issue with your manufacturer or dealer. All right, next up, I want to go over what I like to call the big three of ride feel, which are pedal hardness, acceleration assist, and tilt compensation. Pedal hardness is just how much the wheel allows itself to tilt forward or back upon an input. Acceleration braking, kind of giving the illusion of a soft feeling ride or perfectly stiff wheel that you're pushing against. Acceleration assist, while being similar to pedal hardness and also allowing the wheel to tilt more upon acceleration, is more of a gradual thing that increases its tilt up to a certain point as you get faster or as you're braking. So rather than a squishiness feeling, it's more of like an assist that allows you to bring your body more forward and achieve greater acceleration. I consider it to be more like a dynamic tilt angle. You know how you can like set the wheel's tilt at a certain angle to assist with acceleration or to set it back to assist with braking? Acceleration assist does that automatically up to a certain point over the course of an acceleration or braking to assist with either. Hence me calling it more of a dynamic pedal angle than another pedal softness adjustment. While a lot of riders don't like their pedals moving around because they think it's unpredictable, they don't like the feeling, I've come to actually really like the combination of acceleration assist with pedal softness, because unlike other brands whose soft pedals act rather slowly and annoyingly, the combination of acceleration assist and pedal softness on this kind of firmware acts really quickly, and instead of feeling like it's something that goes against your body, it feels like it's going with your body because of its instant tilting. Lastly, there's tilt compensation. Now this is a pretty interesting one. Up until fairly recently, like a couple months ago, Leapercam wheels, and by extension the Apex, were plagued with this firmware behavior that's been there all the way from the beginning, where the wheel's gyro wouldn't be able to compensate for the g-forces of your own acceleration when calculating what's down, and because of that acceleration, it would balance the wheel forward, thinking that down was like diagonally backwards because of your acceleration. Basically, your g-forces of your own acceleration were throwing off the balancing algorithm, and it would tilt the wheel slowly forward as you accelerated, and then very slowly level and tilt the wheel back if you're braking. Kind of annoying, like I was saying about other brands' soft mode, but over an even longer course of time being kind of annoying. So recently, a new patch was added that allows you to adjust the amount of compensation to that tilt that you want. Now, I find that values above, say, like 40 or 50 do some kind of weird things. Yes, they keep the pedals nice and flat, but I find occasionally while I'm cruising, the pedals start to lift up for no apparent reason. So my favorite place to set that adjustment is at 30%. At 0%, you still get that old pedal behavior. And hey, I mean, if you're used to it, you might like that, but it was getting a little bit annoying. So dialing in that compensation was really great. All right, let's talk suspension. Similar to Librachem's Fast-Ace suspension, the Aero suspension is also a hydraulic fork-style suspension, but made by a different manufacturer whose name I won't bother to pronounce. What's different about the system, though, is instead of dedicating one side to compression dampening and one side to rebound dampening, both shocks have both rebound and compression dampening, one on the top, one on the bottom, therefore supposedly reducing how stiff the coils have to be. As a refresher, compression dampening slows the downstroke of the suspension, and rebound dampening slows the upstroke. So if you're feeling like you travel through your travel too fast and you want to stiffen up your ride a bit, up the compression dampening. And if you feel like you're being pogoed off the pedals too easily, then add in some rebound dampening. And this is totally situational too. Like if you're a rider who does a lot of hops and likes to pop off of speed bumps and stuff, you're going to want fast rebound. But if you want like a smooth and planted ride without too much pop, you're going to want to dampen the rebound. Quick note, as on this system, both adjustments are on both sides. It's very important that you dial in both equally when you're adjusting. So I like to back off both of them all the way and then apply an equal amount of turns to both sides, just to make sure both are dampening at the same amount. Now lastly, both of these feature preload, which is compressing the spring inside the shock to reduce the amount of initial sag you have. If you're a heavier rider and you notice that you're either bottoming out a lot or you feel like you're sagging through the suspension too much, then you're going to want to crank up the preload a little bit. Now, as stated in the last video, there was like a little bit of a knocking sound. Talked to Jack about that, and he says that the way to solve this is to reduce all the preload. So if you're a rider who is light enough that you can run the suspension with no preload, then you get to enjoy not having that little clicking sound. But if you do need to use preload, unfortunately, that's something you're just gonna have to deal with. Again, it's not really impactful of the performance, it's just a little noise. Otherwise, preload-wise, you should be looking to be sitting at a sag of around 20 to 30% of the wheel's total travel. You can measure this with like a sticky note attached to it and then using a pencil to mark the wheel's unloaded height and then the loaded height. But to be honest, I don't really do all that measurement stuff. I just do it by feel, what feels best. The method I like to use is to just do some adjustment, go ride it. If it feels better or worse than it was before, and like keep dialing that in until you find something like best. But if you want to be super scientific about it, there's tons of mountain bike suspension adjustment videos that you can look up. They really dive deep into the methodology of it, but I say just set it to whatever feels best and just don't be afraid to mess with it. All right, just past 20 kilometers on my range test of the Aero, and it's doing pretty good. Darkness spot saying it's at 71% battery, which is honestly pretty impressive. I know battery drain isn't linear, and at around like the 60% mark, it starts draining a little bit faster. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue all the way around the seawall, see where I'm at after that, and see how far I can go. All right, so I've gone one lap around the seawall. I've done 34.4 kilometers since leaving home, and I still have 59% battery, 112 volts. My average speed did drop down to 27.4 because I was taking it a little bit slower around the seawall, but still, I'm gonna do something probably kind of silly and go for another lap. Maybe I'll take the road this time and go up to Prospect Point. Would that throw off the results? I don't know, maybe because it's a bit of an uphill, but it is a really nice view. we made it to Prospect Point. Done 41.3 kilometers, and I have 44% battery left. Getting a little bit nervous now, because I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to make it back. But thankfully, the rest of Stanley Park is all downhill, so I won't lose as much battery as I did getting up here. But also, 41 kilometers is just at around the point where the Falcon started tipping back. And I've still got 44% battery left, so go Aero. Oh God, my 360 camera might die before the blue goes. Alrighty, on my way back to the store after my second lap around Stanley Park. I'm at 46.8 kilometers on the odometer. Let's see. And my riding battery percentage is down to 26%, which is lower than it would be if I had it stationary because of voltage sag. Should I be worried that I can't make it back? Probably. But you know what? I've got my PID Zoom fast charge in my backpack. I'm chilling. Still able to comfortably ride at 30 to 40 kilometers an hour with no tilt backs in sight. So yeah. So I'm getting close to the store and I just hit 51 kilometers. I still have 16% battery. So I think I'm just gonna keep riding in the neighborhood. I'll conclude the range test when it tilts back at like when I can't ride faster than 8 kilometers an hour, because that's what I did with the Sherman L, Falcon, whatever other wheels I've been testing. But even at 16% battery, it's still letting me ride at 34 kilometers an hour. Actually, let's see when this actually starts tilting back. Okay, I'm getting tilt back at 43 kilometers an hour. When I remind you, the top speed of this is 55, so I'm not that far below its top capable speed at full battery, even though I'm at 16% battery. Pretty neat. Ooh. All right, I just heard my first low battery beep. I'm at 54.2 kilometers in this trip, and on Darkness Spot says it's at 6% battery. Now let's check the voltage. 96 volts. I don't actually know what the lowest this can go is voltage-wise. I'll put it up on the screen, but yeah. Let's see what speed I tilt back on now. Oh yeah, also my Insta360 camera died, so we're going phone, janky phone camera now. See, up a hill. Where do I tilt back? Oh, okay, there we go. 38 kilometers an hour at 6% battery. So, huh, that's kind of neat. Like, well, actually, no, the Falcon didn't even make it this far, but at around, I'd say 20, 30 kilometers in, it wouldn't even let me go past 20 kilometers an hour. Yeah, so far, this has been really impressive. I'm really stoked about the amount of battery this wheel has. All right, so I've decided to ride a little bit longer. Did some little squirrely random paths through the city. I don't know. I just kept riding around the block. And now I am consistently tilting back at 26 kilometers an hour. And I have ridden 58.3 kilometers. Let's see if we can push this thing to 60. I think I can do it. Maybe. All right, I just checked Darkness Spot, and I totally did not realize that I'm like actually at 0% battery. But I'm still riding. I'm like pretty much limited to walking speed, but I can still ride it. I think I'll 59 kilometers. I think I should be able to push it another kilometer at this speed, and then we can officially call it a 60 kilometer wheel. It's now tilting me back at 12 kilometers an hour. Okay, maybe we can't do this. Okay, I think I'll properly call this range test done here, because I literally can't ride faster than 8 kilometers an hour as it tilt back. Damn it! It was so close to 60. You got 59.6. Ah, no, I can get it. I can get it to 60. I can get it to 60. All right, and in the end, I could not ride this 60 kilometers. I got pretty close though. 59.8 at the end of the range test. And it started, I literally couldn't ride it faster than 4 kilometers an hour. That's how bad the tilt back was. I was literally like sliding off the back of the pedals. But all things considered, that's a pretty good range for the Aero. Yeah. Rode from home up here to Vancouver. That was already 20 kilometers. Did 2 laps around Stanley Park. I think it was 41 kilometers by the time we got to Prospect Points at the top. And then I just came down and rode around the city for a bit. And here we are, 59.8 kilometers in the middle of some road, Quebec, I think. Yeah, I gotta walk this back to the store. Oh well. Oh hey, you know what? Darkness Spot rounded it up to 60. Let's go. You know what? I'll call that a win. 60-kilometer wheel. Totally. All right, tire change time. This is supposedly a very quick tire change, so I'm going to put that to the test. I've got a Falcon knobby tire I'm going to slap on and then take this thing for a rip down the trails. But now, let's open this guy up.
Done.
All right, so that was probably the quickest tire change I've ever done, even though I really fumbled the bag on that, on actually getting the tire on the rim. Turns out smaller rims are a lot harder to mount the tires on than larger ones, but I reckon I could shave off another 5 minutes from my time if I actually learned how to do that smoothly. And you know, this tire's not too bad. You know, it's a little bit tippy for my liking. I think this is a Falcon tire, and I think the Aero has a slightly narrower rim than the Falcon, so it's a little bit tippier. Whether that's a good or a bad thing depends entirely on you. Some riders may like it, some may not, but that's just a thing to consider if you want to try the Falcon tires on the Aero. Now, I'm going to try this thing on the trails, see how it goes. Also, here's the little tricky climb section, and it'll be interesting to do this with such a small diameter tire, and I think all the torque is there. My only concern is clearance. As you can see, I had to like dodge a little bit because there are a bunch of rocks and stuff sticking out, This has lower pedals than the Falcon, so I unfortunately do have to worry about my clearance here a little bit, but the suspension is absolutely a step above what the Falcon offers. You know, there's just so much less resistance and stiction. It just feels like a much better tuned suspension than what's on the Falcon. So it eats up all these bumps much more comfortably. I think before I tackle Floppy Bunny, I'm gonna do a bit of a warm-up lap down bobsled. Admittedly, it has been a while since I've ridden the trails. I switched my Apex over to a 90/90 Michelin street tire because we started our intro to speed season. So yeah, been pretty much just riding street for the past month or so. Let's see how this goes here at bobsled. Now, if you recall in the Patton video, when Chris was taking the Patton for a spin, I was chasing him on his own Falcon. This is a little bit similar to that. You know, as great as this wheel is, I do miss having a much bigger diameter tire, but the improvement in suspension makes a lot of these bumps feel a lot less harsh and more manageable. Now that I've got a tire with a lot more knobs on it, I'm not as worried about my grip, although I feel like due to the wider rim on the Falcon, that might have a bit of a advantage in the contact patch. I don't know if I definitely feel like I'm flowing through this easier on this than the Falcon. Yeah, a couple months ago, they added a bunch of new small little jumps to this trail. They're quite a lot of fun and flowy. Where did I clip there? There's just a small rock. Not bad. Not bad at all. It really does feel like I'm riding a miniature Patton with how the suspension's working. And the firmware. Yeah, the firmware is doing really well around corners. It's not dipping weirdly, so that's satisfying. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, do have to watch out for clipping stuff that do give me a little bit of anxiety. But in a wide open trail like bobsled, it's not really that much of a concern. It might start to be a concern in the next trail, Floppy. Do I dare to do the drop-ins at the start? This thing definitely has enough torque to handle it, although I did forget to charge, so I don't know if I should be too concerned about only having 1 bar of battery, but we'll find out. I will say, the suspension has done a surprisingly good job at keeping me from bottoming out. I mean, all the little jumps on bobsled are pretty small, so I mean, I guess it's to be expected, but still, all right. Not bad. I definitely hit something on my way down. I'll have to take it slow here because I'm probably gonna clip something. Might have been on the kickstand. I don't know. Woo. But I'm impressed the suspension didn't bottom out. Oh. Or maybe it did and it's just really soft. Woo! So like, remember what I said in the Patton video about having to be precise on a smaller tire? This just cranks that up another notch. You have to be so careful here because every little rock and root feels that much bigger. But I won't deny it is pretty fun. You know, I do appreciate how light this is. Even though I know I'm taking this a lot slower than I usually do, this wheel being so lightweight and twitchy makes it feel fast. It's just a different style of enjoying the trail, you know? Huh. I don't exactly know what happened there, but I'm assuming that was an angle cut off. I swear I had it set to pretty high though. Ah, right! I brought it down. I brought it down to 45 because some new people were trying it out. Always remember to keep your angle cut out high when doing berms. And always remember to follow your own advice, because I definitely don't. You know, some people are kind of afraid of power knobs because of how much they lock you in, but like, honestly, in a crash, either they'll flex out of the way or just fall off. Woo! That was fun. Yeah, I was saying, and like, not like fall off as in the Velcro adhesion's weak or anything, but because I can just torque on this thing all day and the pads will hold. But because the pads stick out so wide, when your body comes dislodged from the wheel and they just leverage, there's enough leverage to pull off the Velcro. So you don't get stuck to your wheel. I think I'll do one more bobsled and then call it for the sake of my battery. Do I go for that jump? No. I want to though. I feel like it can do it. Maybe another time. Am I being chased? I'm taking it high. Look in the bright light. I think I might be being chased. Oh, I am being chased. Let's pick up the speed. I'm climbing the high rise. I'm sick of this hype. Glad I didn't fully send the wood berm. Couldn't keep up. Let's hit this one this time. Woo! Definitely would have been able to go faster on my apex, but you know what? I'm pretty happy with the speeds that I'm comfortable with going on the Aero here. Woo! Woo! Oh man, I can get used to this. For flow trails, having a wheel this light is amazing. How fast am I going? I'm like reaching 30 on some of the faster bits. What a good wheel. This thing just keeps surprising me. All right, that's it for my little trail test of the Aero here. And I gotta say, I am impressed. Now, I did kind of expect it to be a little bit of a clearance nightmare with the low pedals. It's definitely meant more as a street cruiser. Some of the more technical sections, I had to be very careful. Otherwise, I'd clip the battery boxes or pedals. But everything else about it is fantastic. I always go back to comparing this to the Falcon because I think right now it's kind of the closest thing to compare it to. And suspension-wise and power delivery and firmware-wise, this definitely takes the cake. Like this, the smoothness and overall operation and tunability of the suspension beats the Falcons by a mile. Where the Falcon felt harsh on a lot of those bumps, this one did a much better job of eating it up. Now you still feel the bumps because it is a much smaller tire than, say, a Patton or a Apex, but the suspension definitely does put in a lot of legwork in making it as smooth as it possibly can. Velcro adhesion, I didn't feel the pad slipping around at all. I mean, other than the one time one side popped off when I took a spill, but honestly, I'm kind of glad that it is able to pop off. Otherwise, I would be kind of trapped in there. But again, as I said, these are quite flexible, so it still wouldn't be enough to like badly twist your ankle, for example. And you know, even though I kind of forgot to charge and I'm running down to 1 bar, I didn't really feel any moments where I was losing torque or power, which is kind of crazy. Let's see what voltage I'm at. I'm at 98 volts. Definitely not ideal, but it did great. Other than the dirt caked into this crevice, I'm gonna have to just dig out. No damage from that spill. This wheel, expectedly, is built like a little tank. Otherwise, ripping this little thing down the trails was a ton of fun. I mean, I'd still prefer the smoother and more controlled ride of a 20-inch, but I can definitely see a lot of people liking something this lightweight. and flickable. I think for flowy trails that don't have a lot of janky tech, this is where this kind of thing would shine. But even with tech, like being able to just like hop and stuff might be enjoyable too. I know one rider, Tom, really likes his Falcon for that kind of thing. But again, the clearance might be an issue, so I don't know. Otherwise, yeah, I am impressed with how it did. I had a lot of fun. Good job, Aero. Good job, NOSFET. Yeah. Let's say hi to Bradley.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Well, if you've been living under a rock, I'm no longer in Canada. We are in Costa Rica, and we are still riding wheels, testing wheels, and holy crap, this thing is amazing. This is my first 5 seconds, 10 seconds on this thing, and Gabe has instructed me to put it into noodle mode. It's not full noodle mode, but it's noodle mode nonetheless, and wow, it's just amazing. This is the wheel, all the wheel I ever need, you know? I don't go fast, especially here in Costa Rica. It's very hilly, a lot of potholes and uneven roads, and I have no desire to go 70, 80 kilometers an hour. No, I'm happy with cruising around 40, being able to go up any hill in the jungle here. It's a powerful little guy. It's so nice. This is amazing. Like, if this wheel came out in 2021, I know it probably didn't. I mean, they have the technology, but just the rate that these things have improved. If this thing came out in 2021, 100% they would have sold, I don't know, tens of thousands. As everybody knows, the market's slowed down a little bit, and some companies are going bankrupt, some companies are stopping shipping. The tariffs are now an issue, although I don't think that's going to affect us too much being in Canada. In fact, it might actually help us. But anyway, it's really comfortable and easy to ride. Like, I got on this thing, and I've been riding the Falcon a bit, riding my one wheel quite a bit as well around here. But this is definitely going to be my new go-to. It is so comfortable and cozy. Oh, by the way, this house here, almost finished. It's for sale. If you want to move to my beautiful community, get away from the chaos of America, the United States, hit me up privately. I'm selling lots here now. It's awesome. This place is amazing. It's an eco village called Alegria, located in Costa Rica in the mountains, and I mean, as you can see, it's just incredible and beautiful. Yeah, if anyone's wondering, still heavily involved in EVs, still make all the purchasing decisions, and practically your chief financial officer and still the CEO. But we got an amazing team back home that are, you know, doing everything else and keeping EVs up and running during what is definitely a difficult time. We've seen some of our Canadian competitors and friends sadly close up shop, and we're hanging in there. So miss you guys, but I'm not gone. I just want you to know that I'm still around, and we're still doing reviews. Anyway, I feel like I haven't reviewed a wheel anymore, and I don't know what to say. But Jack sent everybody pads, except for me, so I'm going padless. But as you guys know, I used to ride the B12 padless, and I kind of like riding padless. I don't mind it. I feel like I don't need it. Although this is hurting my ankles a little bit, I think. Anyway, the fact that these things have hardly any spikes on them, on the pedals, is surprising, because I'm able to ride no problem. I just wanted to go up one of those steeper hills here and feel the torque. So, oh yeah, that's torque. Like, compared to the one wheel I've been riding and the Falcon, like, this thing just feels like it's got so much more to give. It really is I don't know, dare I say, the perfect wheel for just about everyone. It's the perfect consumer wheel. At EVs, our target market aren't the racers, I mean, we do cater to the enthusiasts, but we are more so trying to get new riders into the EUC scene. And not just the EUC scene, the e-scooter scene and one-wheel scene, but the EUCs are kind of our bread and butter, and it's our passion and our love. So that is why we've been really loving this wheel, because it's the perfect entry-level wheel. Someone can buy this and not have to like worry about upgrading in 2 months unless they want to be a racer or whatever. This thing is going to be both easy to learn on and you can grow into it. It's just such an incredible wheel. I'm not going to be getting every wheel here because it is a bit more of a pain in the butt. And Gabe is our official reviewer of wheels now, so he gets them in. We're getting the King Song F22 in. Don't think we're gonna carry that one, but you know, you never know. I want to show you the view of this place. Look at that. Our garden down there. We pick up our food every Tuesday morning there. Fresh organic food grown here on the land. This used to be a bunch of cattle farm, brown grass. You know, it didn't look like this. But yeah, so this wheel, look at this. There's like no spikes yet. I have tons of grip on those pedals. Trolley handle. I really like it. I like that you can like unlatch it from both the top and the bottom. This is, dare I say, the best trolley handle I've ever experienced. The angle allows it to still be relatively centered over the wheels, so you don't feel awkward trolleying it around. It is amazing. The most sexy wheel. I mean, looks are subjective as well, but come on, like look at those lines and curves. You can still use your favorite pads with them. I'm gonna have to get the crew at EVs to send me some pad options, because even though I do ride padless on wheels like the V12, you want pads for this. I want to, dare I say, maybe I'll learn to jump here. Gabe, you want to take a trip to Costa Rica? Anyway, suspension's nice. I've always liked this style of suspension. Even though it's a small wheel, I feel like it absorbs all the bumps. It's super smooth. This is way more stable than the Falcon. I've been riding the Falcon mostly around here, and the Falcon has been like, not the Aero. Well, oh, look at this, a little drop. Oh yeah, easy peasy. Yeah, this thing is so playful. My God, I love it. It's so good. Obsessed. This is the best wheel. It just rides different, guy. It kind of just hit me as I'm riding around, like, wait a second, why is this so damn effortless? Like, it is such a different experience. Maybe it's the noodle mode that Gabe got me put on. I'll drop my settings in the below, or maybe Gabe will put a little flash of my settings right now, but damn, this is amazing. This is just so good. Jack, like, to be honest, Jack, he was with us for a while at EVs. He was a EVs member, and it's really cool. He's always been a hustler, and he knows his wheels so well. So I can't think of a better person to like go off and start their own EUC company, and like for riders, by riders, and like really passionate, skilled riders. And no wonder they made such a sick wheel. Pretty freaking awesome. Jack, kudos, man. Kudos. This is so sick. All right, here's a good final test. Oh yeah, sick. I can't ride up that on my one wheel. But I can on this. Woo. Phew. See you guys.